Welcome. It is Michael Cole, Facebook Live Time, Thursday night episode 283. And we are still in search of awesome sauce. And we found some for you tonight. Bailee Johnson, I'm going to consider her to be a high-end hair color for starters, as you see some of the ways that she's branding herself on Instagram. Hair extension, yes, big time. An Instagram Jedi, and you're going to see why I invited her in a second. She is from Elizabeth Jean Salon, and that's located in Claremont, Oklahoma. And the owner, Kristen Roseberry, and the summit coach is Robin Paul. If I recall right, Robin is the one that direct messaged me and said she sigged me on Bailee and says, Bailee's doing some really cool stuff, and so I reached out to Bailee, and here we are. Let me show you why I invited her tonight. So she began at Elizabeth Jane in 2019. You know, first year, I think she was like almost halfway through the year. Associate stuff, had a good 2020, darn near doubled it in 2021. She'll trend she's trending to do $100,000. Right now for 2021. So to say that she is on her game would be an understatement. I want to also tell you a little bit about her stats, because when you really look at, level 4 in a very, very, very quick, I think she did like, she'll tell you, like 3 level jumps in a year, 26. Look at the average ticket is $150, and her haircut price is $41. I mean, you start doing the math on that, you know that she's getting her clients involved in stuff that goes way, way, way beyond a haircut. High-end color, hair extensions, etc. Average day is 500. Trending to do 125 referrals this year on Instagram. Rebooking 85%. So these stats are off the chart, you guys. And she's doing that well inside of 32 hours a week. I think she's at 28 hours a week. So to say that she's on her game would be nothing short of an understatement. She's going to tell you about her story, so I don't want to take anything away from it. But she graduates from high school in 13, hair school in 18, and there's a 4 or 5 year window that real interesting story. I don't want to take anything away from it. I'll let her fill in the blanks there. Begins as an associate, and in 2019 goes from associate to level 3. I mean, that's some pretty fast track. And level 4, 2020, and now she's cruising. She's on fire. So she's in, and if you're not following her on Instagram, Bailee's Babes, how's that for an Instagram handle? I absolutely love how she's branding herself on how she's using grids. She got just an awesome library of highlights, and taking advantage of Reels and IGTV. I'll get her chatting about that, and then maybe take you on a little field trip so you can see it. But if you're not following her, I would highly recommend. It's at Bailee's Babes on Instagram. So she is in my green room now. I'm going to go and get her, and we're going to get her talking a little bit about her story. And then I'm going to see if I can get her to share some of her secret sauce with us tonight. Let me just bring her on full screen and unmute her. And you can make her feel real welcome. Very welcome. Hi, Bailee.
Hello.
Thanks for coming on tonight. You told me you worked. How long did you work before you came home to do the deal?
I worked until from 9 to 3:30 today.
Yeah, and you're at your fam's house. You got all the stockings hung up, and you told me those are all of your siblings.
So I've got 2 siblings, and then we've got wives and nieces and nephews. We've got all the.
So you are really in the holiday spirit. Good to have you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Well, listen, we've, when we do these interviews, we always like to start with the story, because it gives us an appreciation of the person that we're talking to and where they've been and how they got to where they're at and where they're going. So get us started with yours. You were telling me about it a couple of days ago when you and I chatting. So catch my community up with you. Who are you and how'd you get into the biz?
So I am Bailee Johnson, and I graduated high school in 2013. And then I went straight to college because I thought that's what you had to do. My parents never told me I had to, but I just thought that's what I had to do. And so I went to college and decided about 4 years in that that's not the path I wanted to take and that I wanted to do hair. And so I came home and I told my parents, hey, I want to do hair. And they were like, oh, we always knew you would. And so I immediately enrolled into cosmetology school, and it's been nonstop ever since.
No, I love that. So the part I thought was really interesting is you're well into, the 4-year ride, and, 80, 90% into the ride, you decide to pivot, come home, make the grand announcement that, I've been thinking about it. I think I want to go into the beauty industry. And your parents are so graceful. And they said, oh, we figured you were going to do that, rather than going, are you crazy?
Yeah, exactly. That was not the response I was expecting, but I'm so grateful that they reacted that way.
I love it. So then you enroll in school. What and the school that you went to? That's when you. When did you hook up with Elizabeth Jean? During school?
So yeah, about 4 or 5 months before I started in the associate program, I worked their front desk until I graduated hair school. And then I immediately went into the associate program after I graduated.
How did you make like? Were you a client at Elizabeth Jean before this, or like how did you even get from school to Elizabeth Jean working the desk? Like how'd you find out about Elizabeth Jean?
So Elizabeth Jean is in a town right next to the town I grew up in, and my cousin is actually from that town, and she babysat for the owner. And the owner found out about me, Kristen, and she ended up messaging me on Facebook and was like, hey, will you come interview for this job? And I was like, I'm not going to work in Claremore, Oklahoma. You can't pay me enough money to do that. And I went to coffee with her and ended up with the job.
Wow. So how far of a drive is it from Claremont and where you live?
So I live in Catoosa, so it's about a 15-20 minute drive depending on the trains.
Yeah. So you start as an associate, and what is that, 2019?
Yeah, January 2019.
And like I saw on your stats that you went from associate to level 3 in a very, very, very quick period of time. Did that happen inside of a year?
Yes. So I went from associate to level 1 in about 2 months. And then every 3 months after that, I leveled up.
Wow. And I'm curious as to what it was that you were thinking like you wanted to move towards in college.
So I went to school for health education and promotion. And I thought I wanted to do pharmaceutical sales. And I got deep into that, and I was like, this is not what I want to do with the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's quite a flip from hair. Now, I thought when you and I were chatting the other day, were you one of those many hairdressers, younger, playing with hair with your friends, and so you were like cut from the cloth naturally from it. So it was like a homecoming when you decided that you're not going to do pharmaceutical sales.
Right. Yeah. So I grew up doing cheer, and I was always the hair and makeup girl. Everyone would come to me. So I'd have to wake up extra early to get my stuff done before I did everyone else's. Watched my hairdresser do my hair growing up. I loved watching her foil hair. And so it was no shock to anyone in my life that I wanted to do hair.
Wow. Isn't that, and I've interviewed a few hundred people, and there's many, many, many hairdressers. Once upon a time, I was either sitting in someone's chair as a kid, or I was playing with hair, and it just kind of like I knew I was going to be doing it. And sometimes we got to go on a little path, a little bit of a diversion, but sooner or later, here we are. The other question I'm always curious about is that I wouldn't have invited you on tonight had you not. You're really on a very fast track, and that doesn't happen to most people. And I've after a few hundred interviews, I always ask the same question: what in the world happened to kind of blow the sides off of your brain box where you really saw a potential in this business that maybe you didn't see before. It's like, okay, I love doing hair. I think I could have fun doing it. And all of a sudden you get into Elizabeth Jean and you see something that like turns the lights on. What was that seeing for you?
So after I graduated cosmetology school, I was 23. And so I already felt like I was behind in the hairstylist community. And so as soon as I got in, I knew I needed to make money to start paying bills. And the only way to do that was to keep leveling up. And so she gave me a goal and I was like, yep, I'm going to hit it. That's just what I have to do. So each goal she gave me, every 3 months, I was like, here we go again. We're doing it. And here we are now.
Yeah, I think when you and I were chatting a couple of days ago, that was the most intriguing part of your story is like, okay, for whatever reasons, I go through school and I'm seeing people that are 18, 19, I'm into 20 something. So I feel a little bit awkward. And so I know I got to speed things up. You go into Elizabeth Jean's and you see the chart and you go, whoa, okay. So now, there's a choo-choo track, but it's like, I don't want to take 5 years or 10 years to get to the fourth level. I want to do that at Mach 5. And that sounds like the idea that she showed that to you and that it could be done, and the rest is history.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a lot of movement in a year. So now you should, and you're on a 6-figure W-2 track, and we know when you're going to school, it's like we're making ends meet. So you're in a different place now than you were even a couple of years ago. What's it like to be you now? How has this kind of changed your lifestyle, your standard of living, and give us a taste of that, because a lot of people aren't where you're at right now. They're only imagining this.
Yeah, so when I started, I never thought I'd be where I am right now so quickly, but I was motivated to be here. So right now I'm saving to buy a house, and I've also paid off about 30 grand in debt this year. Doing what I love. It couldn't get any better than this.
Oh my God. So, I've been around long enough to know that show me someone was able to earn enough money to pay off $30,000 in debt in 1 year. That's like $600 a week going towards the reduction of debt. And that, that's speed of light. That's got to feel good. Just curious, was this like student loan stuff and, stuff you have to do as you're getting your life? Is that what you mean by 30,000 in debt?
Yeah. So I have student loans from college, and then my car payment and just stupid credit card debt that I accumulated in college.
Right. And you said you're close. You're on a choo-choo track to get a house. How close are you to doing that?
I am hoping to do that sometime within the next year, depending on the housing market.
Okay. So it's a blip on your radar for 2022.
Right.
I love it. So, and that's, of course, what's next for you. So you kind of beat me to the punch. If I go, where are you going in 2022? For sure a house is on your radar. You got anything else cooking in 2022 that you want to kind of stretch for, a stretch goal?
I think just hitting that 100K W-2 is probably my biggest goal. Hoping to buy a house and continue paying off student loans and everything else that comes with adulthood.
Yeah. To do 6 figures at 23, 24, and you take an average college grad with 4 years, even 6 years, I don't see that kind of performance in a post-grad market. So you're really definitely fast tracking. I want to spend a few minutes with you talking about what in the world are you doing to grow at the pace that you're growing. Like what's some of your secret sauce, whether it's social media stuff, whether it's stuff you're doing in the chair with your clients. Tip your hand a little bit. What are your secrets?
So absolutely social media. And then I'm posting what I want to do. So as far as like designer colors, I love doing lived in, like balayage, sun-kissed hair, just very beachy and frothy and all of that stuff. And extensions. They are a game changer.
Yeah, you and I were all I'm doing is just like scrolling up on your grids. Those tickets to me first of all, I see high-end color, a lot of hair extension work. Those look like $400, $500 tickets to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you're saying I'm real clear about what type of clients I want seeking me, and I'm branding myself as that kind of expert using my Instagram grids, using my Instagram highlights. You're doing, it looks like you're going to do 125, 130 referrals this year. How many of those referrals that are coming to see you because of they got somehow or another, they got on your Instagram page, started seeing your work, and they were compelled to reach out to you? What percent would you say?
I would say at least 85%.
Wow.
At least.
And how many of them would hang out on your page, see something, and then the first point of contact is what they might, they follow you and or they DM you? How many of your referrals would be like they would DM you before they did anything?
Yep, absolutely. All of the ones that I get referred to me will always direct message me saying, "Hey, what's your availability? I would love for you to do my hair."
Oh my God. And so you're saying the overwhelming majority of the referrals you get out of Instagram, the first, I'm going to call it touch point, is direct message.
Absolutely.
So is there any kind of, is it basically, how do I make an appointment with you? Or is there any conversations going on via direct message where maybe they ask you a question, maybe they send you a selfie, or maybe they took a screen grab off of something on your grids and they start asking you questions about, do you think I'm a candidate for that? Or all of a sudden you're almost doing a kind of a hybrid consultation on your direct message page. Do you have any of that stuff going on?
Almost every single one of my clients will say, "Hey, I want to book an appointment with you." My first question is, what does your hair look like now? And what do you want it to look like? And that's where we start.
So and they answer that via taking a selfie, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
They DM you. And then when you say, how do you want it to look? They're sending you some content. How much of that content is your content versus they were kind of surfing the internet, or maybe they were on who knows where they're at? But it's sometimes it's your work and sometimes it's somebody else's work.
I say now it's probably 20% TikTok and the rest is my work that they've seen on someone else that they're sending to me.
Right. So your page has become a digital lookbook that they're using to send you what they want to look like, and they're using your work.
Yes.
What's that feel like, by the way? Because there's a lot of hairdressers that's not their reality. It's they'll send a randomly posted picture, on Pinterest or as you said, TikTok, but it's not their work. And you're saying no, the majority of what I'm getting from their inspiration work is my work. What's that like for you?
I have to humble myself a lot of times because I start getting a big head. That I'm doing what I love and I'm succeeding and people are liking the work that I put out on a daily basis. So I'm honored and I'm also humbled.
And as I'm crawling your highlight library, the first highlight you have is bridal, and you got to have 50 shots on that. So I'm assuming that one of the things you're branding yourself as is that you do bridal work.
Yes, I love up styles, braids, curls, all of the things. Bridal is one of my favorite things to do.
How's that work if somebody says, "Hey, what's your deal if I have you, do my hair and my wedding parties?" Like, how's that work in the salon for you?
So that's pretty much on my own time because I don't necessarily brand myself as a bridal stylist. If I have time to do it, great. But I also work during the week. So that's just extra money that I have if I'm willing and wanting to do a wedding.
Right. And then, you got some highlights of before and after work. I'm even looking at a highlight on booking with you. And especially, and then I'm seeing another highlight on your work on hand tied extensions. And it probably looks like there's 20 pieces of content there. So do you get a lot of inquiries about that?
Oh, absolutely. I think most of my hand-tied extension clients come from Instagram or come from another stylist in the salon who isn't certified in hand-tied, but their guests would love the look of some more fullness or even more length in their hair, and then I'll get a referral from other client or other stylists in the salon.
And you and I were asking, I was asking you this the other day. So, like, I said, when you start a typical day, your book will look whatever it looks. You've got this much business on the book, but at the end of the day, in a typical day, you'll see a $200 difference there. So somewhere between the time you start your day and end your day, there's $200 or more of business that kind of just shows up. How's that show up? Is that through conversations you're having in consultation? Because a lot of people need work on that part.
Yeah, so a lot of people come in, say they have dark hair and they're wanting to go lighter and they're wanting my color of blonde. And I'm like, well, in order to get that look, we're going to need to use a gloss. And that's an overlay added onto my ticket. So I'll have at least 3 overlays per guest if they're getting a gloss, or a chemistry treatment, conditioning treatment, eyebrow wax, eyebrow tint, all these extra things that are added on, like while me or my associate is talking to them during their appointment.
And none of that is booked prior to coming in, but from engaging in the conversations, all that is handled in real time before they leave.
Yes.
And we know that some of those services are no-brainers. They're a service that you can lay on a pre-existing service and you don't need more time, right? But some of those services, all of a sudden, it's going to require another 15 minutes, another 30 minutes. How do you make that work when you're booked? Is it thank God you have an associate, or like, how's that work?
Yeah, so in the beginning it was stressful when I didn't have an associate. I would double book myself, and there were points where I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get both these people out of here on time and give them both the look that they're wanting. So in the beginning it was kind of luck, and now with an associate I book every hour, and so they're either with me or my associate the whole time. And so my associates help me way more than I could ever thank them for.
Right. So you're saying without an associate, you were under a lot of stress. I mean, you were improvising, like, flying the airplane as you're building it. But with an associate, you've got so much more wiggle room. And now that's a system, that every client's got an hour, and that you've got another set of hands. So how much less stress are you experiencing now that you've learned to work with associate that you did not have? You're stressed out with an associate. How much of a difference maker has that made for you?
Oh my gosh, I feel like I can breathe, especially like during these holiday months. I wouldn't be able to do it without them, and I wouldn't be able to hit the goals I hit without them either.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, there's still a lot of hairdressers in the Summit system that, for whatever reasons, that's a big stretch for them. They have questions about the money, like, how much more money is it costing you, and how's all that stuff work? So what would you say to somebody that really is confused about it, and they're afraid they're going to fall down and go boom if they pivot from working by themselves to working with an associate?
I kind of think of it like this. I make $200 on average from just a typical full foil. $10 of that plus a tip is going to my associate. So the risk is, or the reward is way greater than the risk that you're taking.
Right. And you've now, how long has it been since you started working with an associate? How many months has it been?
2 years now.
Okay. So you've been doing the deal long enough where you're going, I'm not going on blind faith anymore. I know with absolute certainty that not only am I going to make a lot more money, but I'm going to have way, way, way less stress. So now, an associate is not open for debate. It's like, it's part of my chairside manner. How many associates have you worked with where you've put on the floor in 2 years?
Oh goodness. In 2 years, I have had, I think, 6 or 7 associates. I have 3 currently with me different days of the week. And then I've had 4, I think 4 in the past that have gone on to level up.
So many of the, you've got, I call it a lineage, right? So there's graduates, if you will, that have been, on the system. And so you're saying, like, if I walked into the salon tomorrow, how many stylists that are now in the level system would you say, that's one of my alumni, that's one of my, are we talking 3, 4?
I'm pretty sure 5 are working on their own, like have their own days
Right.
that they're working.
I love it. And what's the one that's at the highest level so far?
I think a level 1 or 2.
Right. Right.
Where they're at right now.
How's that feel to have, 4 or 5 people that have kind of, you've educated them and tutored them to see them going?
It's awesome because they become like, I mean, some of my best friends because I'm with them every day. So I get to know all of the details of their life and everything. So when they level up, I get just as excited as they do. Yeah,
you get you're kind of like you're part of that juice because you kind of help to launch them, if you will. That's a great feeling. How many times would in a consultation would either your mobile be out and or your guest mobile be out and they're on your page and the conversation is around content that they're seeing on your page, where in that real time your page is a lookbook?
Yeah, I'd say about 80% of the time.
Wow. Well, I mean, I could just keep quizzing you, asking you question after question and question. Is there anything else that you want to share with us about your secret sauce? Because this, to me, this is as important as the story, because you're kind of tutoring people right now about, the how that's behind what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. So I tell all of my associates when they come to me, like, they're new, they're learning, they're asking me what I need to do to grow my business. And every time I'm like, what's your social media look like? What are you doing to promote yourself? It's free marketing. Social media is free marketing. And I can't stress that enough. So
when somebody is your associate, you are on them, you hover over them to say, I love you too much to not be nudging you, pushing you, shoving you, because to the degree that you can get as good at marketing yourself on Instagram as you are in your work, that's not a 1 + 1 is 2. That's like a 1 + 1 is 10. And you're saying that really is a strong value for you in people that you educate.
Oh, absolutely. Every single person. And they're like, okay, well, what do I need to do? And I'm like, make yourself look like you're wanted and available, and like they're wanting what you have. So post yourself, post your clients, whatever you have to do to get those people in your chair, do it.
And so a lot of your mentoring on an associate involves social media. You're as much teaching them about how to leverage social media as you are teaching them how to do, the technical aspects, the guest handling aspects of the business as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's interesting because there's, a number of 30-somethings, 40-somethings, 50-somethings hairdressers. They were in the biz before there was any social media. That's not necessarily the case with you. So this is always a fun question to ask somebody like you. Can you imagine what it would be like now to try to grow a clientele without Instagram, never mind social media? Can you wrap your mind around that?
Hey, just like I don't want to know what a world without toner is, I don't want to know what a world like the hair world without social media is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I say this all the time that we're not sure if Instagram was made for hairdressers or hairdressers were made for Instagram. It doesn't matter. It's a marriage made in heaven. But when you're 20 something, that makes perfect sense. But when you're, 30 or 40 something and you're going, I built a clientele without it, but it's something like if you're not in it now, clients kind of wonder about you, like, how relevant are you? How on your game are you? So it's a big deal, isn't it?
It's huge. I mean, they want to know what kind of work you're producing, and it's right there in front of them. All they have to do is look you up, and they're either going to want it or they're going to find someone else that is a perfect match for them also.
Yeah. How big is social, the culture of Instagram, at the salon that you're working in now? Like how many people are on the floor, and out of those number of people out on the floor, how many of them are really using social to build their business like you? Is it 100%? Is it like, how's that work?
So when I first started, there were not that, I mean, there were quite a few girls that were using social media, but I came in and kind of rocked Kristen's world when it came to social media. And so she always asked me questions about what she's supposed to be doing. So now 100% of our stylists are using social media to market themselves because they've seen what a big deal it is.
Yeah. Is it primarily Instagram, or are they playing around on other platforms like TikTok, or what are the platforms they're using?
So I'd say for the older, I say older, they're not old, but they gear more towards Facebook because that's where their clientele is. I think around my age, 26 area, is Instagram and some TikTok, but the younger stylists coming in are very much TikTok.
Right. So they're using TikTok as you're using Instagram.
Yes.
I love it. So yeah, because now there's like 3 genres. I mean, you're either a really young millennial or a senior zennial, right? But somebody that's 18 or 19, they're not millennial. They're part of the Gen Z genre, and they are very much TikTok. So, that's kind of sort of where they live. So it's been kind of fun to watch now. 3 communities. You got Xers on Facebook, you've got millennials on Instagram, and you've got zennials that are using TikTok. And to just watch that, especially since COVID, it's been amazing.
Oh, it's COVID, I think, exploded the hair industry more than ever.
Right. Yeah. So talk just a little bit more about that, because people are trying to wrap their mind around what is it that COVID did to change the industry more in 2 years than the industry might change in 10 years.
So I think that a lot of people realize that they can't do their hair themselves. And it made the urgency of getting in even more. Also, TikTok took over. So people are getting this whole look inside of salons and what goes on in salons and how much work we actually do. It's not just a cut and a foil and you're out the door. You come in, we have a consultation, we do the color, we do the gloss, we blow you out, we cut, we style, all of the things. It's not just an in and out process. And so I feel like there's a greater appreciation and people are willing to pay more because of it.
Yeah. So people come in expecting that they're going to be in the salon longer. Their investment's going to be higher, but they're not only going to have a better look, but a much more favorable experience. And you're saying that happened to some extent. COVID kind of unleashed some of that.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow. Well, I could talk to you for hours about this. It's just a very interesting conversation that we're having, and it's evolving as we speak. Who knows what it's going to look like in 2022? Whatever it looked like in 2020 pales in comparison to what it looks like in 2021. So we can assume that it's not done. I mean, we're not done with COVID yet. We're just about the time when we go, looks like we're done. There's a flare up, and the game changed. So who knows? It's predictably unpredictable. But what we do know is that hairdressers that are using social are really being able to benefit from it. Like you said, it's changing the nature of the relationships between hairdressers and the clients, and the clients are spending more for hairdressers that know how to manage that relationship.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, I know it's been a long day and you got your fam cooking, so I want to let you get back. But make me a promise that you'll come back for an encore next year. I found you to be just a real interesting interview, and I think you're just getting warmed up. I think you're going to crush six figures next year.
Thank you. I'd love to come back.
All right. We'll be in touch. Thank you very much, Bailee, and say hi to all my buddies in your neck of the woods.
Will do.
All right. We're going to give it up for Bailee one more time, you guys. All right. Have a good night, my friend.
Bye.
Bye. Wowzer. That was, I don't know. I really, we went to a place that I didn't know that we were going to go to. I just loved, first of all, she's the real deal, right? I mean, and how she's, how she's handling her biz. I really liked her comment about, how she's, what she's doing to work with her associates, how big of a deal it was for her to pivot from not having an associate to associate. It sounds like the overwhelming majority of the stress went away. I mean, you're not going to get to $100,000 a year unless you're making your day $200 to $300 better by the back end of the day than the front end. I'm going to say that to you again. So, everybody wants to know, how do you get to, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000, $110,000 in W-2? That will not happen unless you develop an ability to take what your day looks like, when you start it, and you got to add $200 to $300 a day to that. You got to figure that out. If you can't figure that out, you're not going to get to 100, 110 a year. To do that, you get stressed when you don't have an associate, because at first you're the only services that you can offer and upsell are services that don't require more time. It's an add-on, a service you lay on top of another. It's good for $20, $30, but unless you start upselling higher end service, they require another 30 minutes or an hour or 2 hours, especially if it's an extension. That'll throw your game way off. And she's saying it before she got into the associates, she said it was stressing her out big time. And frankly, a lot of hairdressers won't do it because of that. She did it because she wanted to catch up. And then once she on-ramped into associate, it's like, this is so much better because now I can, make a lot of money and not kill myself, not stress myself to death. So I love that. But the other thing that I heard her say is that she how reliant she is on Instagram. She referred to that as free marketing, and she's telling her 4 to 5 associates that I love you too much to not bother you, hover over you, nudge, shove you, push you to use Instagram. And she said, as a millennial, she says, I can't imagine trying to build a clientele today without, she said, social media, but because she's millennial, it's Instagram. And then she says, and people that are in the, she referred to them as older people, I would say, they're Gen X, the boomers, right? But that genre, they're Jedi at Facebook. They're using that. And that now she has a genre before millennial called Generation Z or Zennial, and that they're using TikTok to the degree that she's using Instagram. So it's interesting that in any salon today, you can find 3 genres, X, millennial, Zennial, and they're all using social media, but different platforms, in that community. So fascinating interview with her. So give it up for Bailee one more time. And if you're new to the page, you're on my Facebook page. It's Michael Cole, Millionaire Stylist. This interview will live on the page for a while. We'll edit it, clean it up, and repost it in a cleaner version. And then we will also put a micro learning of it, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, the highlights of it on Michael Cole, Millionaire Stylist IGTV channel. So go there and you can watch that as well. And then while you're on my IGTV page, I'm actually crafting the book, The Behind the Chair Millionaire. and I'm actually writing it using my Instagram page with reels and stories and stuff. So hang on, it's really a lot of fun. And while you're there, follow me, but also hang out. I've got a all of my calculators, gamified calcs, where setting goals for whether I want to blow up my W-2 income, I want to start saving money or paying off debt. That's like Bailee paid off $30,000 of debt in a year. These calculators are all gamified. Dream Machine, Magic Day Calc, Golden Goose, debt free, and it's all compliments L'Oreal. So you don't have to sign up for anything. Use them, and there's just a lot of cool stuff on that Instagram page. So take advantage of it. Then Summit has a .com called summitsalon365.com. I'm putting a lot of my newer content, more mindfulness training, emotional wellness training, and it's really coursework, and it's a subscription site. So check that out. It's summitsalon365.com. And if you're new to us, the community, if you go to summitsalon.com, you can schedule a 30-minute complimentary virtual consultation to really understand what it is that we can help you with. Summit, that is, with our coaching services now that they're online. So take us up on that. Last but not least, I always like to end with expressing gratitude to L'Oreal Professional Products Division. They are the exclusive business partner of Summit Salon Business Center. These are all of their brands. We got Biolage, Pulp Riot, Kerastase, Pureology, L'Oreal Professional, Redken, Matrix, Shoe, and Mazzani. And then Redken's, L'Oreal's business brand, Salon Emotion. So we always like to, give it up for their support. Please support those brands. You carry those brands, get your clients on those brands to the degree that you can do that. L'Oreal is in a position where they can continue to sponsor the work of Summit. So it's for the good of all and the harm of none. Listen, great night. I'm going to let you get on with your evening. We will be back on Monday afternoon for another one of these interviews, and then back next Thursday as well. So have a good eve, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for hanging with me.